come on, ladies and gentlemen. It is the last day in the month of January 2025. Aren't you excited? Well, for me, I am super duper excited for so many reasons. And some of these reasons are probably, obvious, right? Because we know the stress, the hassle, the bustle that comes with the month of January of every year. It's not always easy. But from my own observation, I think this is the fastest January in the history of Januaries. I don't know about you, but I think January this year was super smooth, where there were ups and downs here and there, but not as it was, last year. So I think this year's January was indeed a divine January, honestly. Like the Shege Pro Max that some people saw, it is really nothing compared to what people saw last year, honestly. So in a nutshell, it is the last day in the month of January, and at this point in time, I can't even help but imagine what you are thankful for. There are a number of people that we stepped into the new year with. We had actually wished them a happy new year. We shook hands, we danced, in the course of the 31st night or crossover service into the new year. And some of them, they are no more, but here we are. And most importantly, knowing that none of our family members on here, no one is missing, even though we've not heard from some people for some time now. We want to believe that they are out of town, and we also pray and hope to hear from them very soon. You know yourselves, you know who these people are already, because I know something about the family members. They take notes of each and every color for every belt. That is so sweet of you guys. And honestly, we've already started the year on a positive note, talking about your loyalty, your commitment to Eagles FM. Thank you so much. We cannot thank you enough. We see the numbers, skyrocketing across YouTube and Facebook. And the truth is, all we can say at this point in time is thank you, thank you. And even if we say it over 1 million times, it might not be enough. But we want to say thank you to you for always supporting us and always being there. This is something we don't take for granted, because the truth is, we won't be here if you're not there. Honestly, we are because you are, and you are because we are. That's just it. It's pretty simple. Welcome to the Eagles Morning Rise Breakfast Show. Just the early morning booster that you need to kickstart the day. How has January been for you? Would you say that January has been productive, or it's been hectic? I'm sure a number of you are looking forward to the month of February. Come on, February is just how many hours away? But again, what's up with the New Year resolutions? How intentional, how brutal have you been with those New Year resolutions? February is around the corner. Another time, another month for you to start all over again and be more strategic, if you like. My name is Omohefe Peace Osemere. For those who find it difficult to call my name, you can call me Efe for short. You're welcome, right? I'll be your host on the Eagles Morning Rise, and by extension, the part of course, the midday extra, which starts, 10 a.m. and at 12 noon, I will be checking out of the studios. So from now till 12 noon promises to be a jolly ride with you family members. So I want to encourage you to stay on this dial, because you've got absolutely no reason to touch the dial. But on the flip side, it looks like it's going to be a chaotic day for some people, right, who are probably on their way from Maraba, Yanya axis into the city center. Because we have been made to understand, I beg your pardon, that there's going to be some sort of road walk, right, by our operatives. So the roads are somewhat clear around the AYA axis, but you can actually fly the bridge, but not, under the bridge. So of course there's going to be a little bit of hold up, but it is expected that whilst I'm saying this, or whilst we are making this known to you, the relevant stakeholders talking about the road safety, and what have you, will mount their guards to ensure, free flow of traffic. Because like I said, it looks like it's going to be a hectic Friday for some people. So please take note. And if you're still in bed, I think you need to get off that bed right away, get ready and hit the road, because you're definitely going to hit so much this morning. And if If your resumption time is actually 8 a.m. and you're still in bed and you're coming from Maraba, you're coming from Yanya, you're coming from Karu, you're coming from Abacha Barracks to town, you have your boss to answer to. Let me just leave it there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on the Eagles Morning Rise Breakfast Show for today, we have a lot packed for your listening pleasure. We started off with the news at 6:45 a.m., but it does not end there because we are get up to bring you up to speed with the latest happenings. And as the news breaks, we're right here, to bring you the update. For that reason, we're going to be looking at the front pages of Nigerian newspapers to see what these national dailies are reporting for today. And I tell you, there are a truckload of headlines across these national dailies that might tickle your fancy. Well, we really cannot wait to hear you share your 2 cents like you always do. That's going to be at 7:30 a.m. this morning. And of course, for sport lovers, and just to let you in on the fact that we've got something for everyone, Sports on Eagles Wings, right, with Vicky Vick, the sports minister on radio, is built for 8 a.m. this morning. You don't want to miss out on that one, so stay glued and don't touch the dial. Well, it continues up until 9 a.m. where I would make a comeback to talk politics and current affairs. And today we're going to be looking at a controversy around, illegal refineries in Nigeria. We understand that there was some sort of clampdown on illegal refineries. Again, about 70 of them, all right? And it really calls for concern. Are we oblivious? Are we ignorant of the environmental hazard, that comes with the operation or activities of these illegal refineries anywhere they are? So we're going to be taking a look at this very critically with someone who is actually from the Niger Delta, because when you talk about activities of illegal refineries, it's somewhat typical of the Niger Delta, axis. But that's not to say we don't have illegal refineries elsewhere. But however way it is, we're going to be tinkering with that at the 9 o'clock hour. And for those of you who actually think that instead of the relevant stakeholders, instead of the government to clamp down on illegal refineries, they should perhaps, bring these people together, go back, to the drawing board and see how they can harmonize thoughts and maybe empower these people, because it appears they have, the expertise, the technical know-how, to refine this product. Because, we've heard that the Warri, the Port Harcourt refineries, they've hit the ground running. You look at the Dangote refinery, and of course, the dissenting voices speaking to, the stability of, oil production in Nigeria, and also the disparity in price. It's really another kettle of fish on its own. The issues in the oil sector, they are hydra-headed. But how can we really, harmonize our thoughts in such a way that in the next 5 years and even beyond, we won't have to bicker over the price of PMS? Honestly. So these are the issues we're going to be looking at the 9 o'clock hour. And of course, at 10 a.m., it'll be time for the General Open Banter. But the General Open Banter today is going to be on a lighter note because it's Friday and it is the last day of the month. Yes. And of course, at 11 o'clock, we definitely would beam our searchlight on the city of Abuja, because really there's a lot going on. And sometimes these issues or cases are underreported. You are our eyes, our nose, our ears. That is where you get to call in to, bring us up to speed as a media, because we cannot be everywhere at the same time. You call in to share with us, the latest update around you. And if you think it's something we can actually tinker with, why not? Well, it does not end there. We always stress the need for you to send us eyewitness reports. It's very, very important, honestly. Send us eyewitness reports and even feedback and even inquiries to our mail address at eaglesfmabuja@gmail.com. Whilst today is the 31st day in the month of January, well, I'd like to also give you a heads up that tomorrow, February 1st, up until 7th of February, would be World Interfaith Harmony Week. World Interfaith Harmony Week. Honestly, it's something that we should put on the front burner, not just in Nigeria, but across the world, because there is this intolerance amongst people, especially when one is not of same faith with them. But the good thing is a whole week has been dedicated, to observe this World Interfaith Harmony Week, talking about, February 1 to 7th. All right, let's see how we can tinker with this, designation, this World Interfaith Harmony Week, to see how we can better, enhance unity in our dear country, Nigeria. And this should be a wake-up call to each and every one of you listening out there, that even when no one is watching, ensure to do the right thing. All right, stop discriminating. Well, the skin color is really not much of a problem for us, but the religious divide is beginning to look like, an issue for some of us right here in this part of the world. But that shouldn't be the case, because whether we like it or not, we all are serving one God, and Nigeria is a nation under one God. So spread the love, spread the message, do the right thing, because that is just what we need to thrive. And don't forget that united we stand, divided we fall. As for those who are still in the habit of defecating and urinating openly and indiscriminately, please think about it and adjust. Say no to one-way driving. Avoid over speeding. It's very important for you to also obey the traffic rules or the signs, because they are not there for fancy. Ladies and gentlemen, that being said, let me quickly intimate you on 10 things that you need to know for today. You must also forgive me. I'm yet to even let you in on the fact that we're streaming at the moment on Facebook and YouTube. So hurry now to YouTube and Facebook to see for yourself, right, our state-of-the-art studios. You might not really see everything, but just a glimpse of what the studio looks like. Honestly, we actually are the best around town. Just head on now to Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's very important. All right. And on Facebook, give us a like, give us a follow. You can also leave a comment. I'll be very glad to acknowledge your thoughts, even as we go engaging on the front pages of Nigerian newspapers on YouTube and Facebook at Eagles FM Abuja. Thank you. Now, looking at 10 things you need to know for today, the National Counterterrorism Center, Office of the National Security Advisor, says at least 5,000 repentant Boko Haram fighters have been reunited with their families, and it says none of the ex-combatants returned to the battleground after 6 months of the de-radicalization program. Well, at least 5,000, repentant Boko Haram fighters have been reunited with their families. All right, that might actually cause a stir amongst Nigerians this morning. But I'll leave it there and move on to the next thing that I'd like you to know this morning. And that will be the fact that the former vice president and 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, was notably absent at the PDP Northeast Zonal Caucus meeting in Bauchi on Thursday. Well, Atiku did not send a representative or issue an apology for his absence, while apologies were presented for other high-ranking party members who were absent. Well, will it be right to say that he probably, perceived, or he's been able to foresee some sort of argument, a very heated one at that matter, if he had, attended that caucus meeting? But you never can tell. But the fact that there was no apology, note or even message, well, that's actually left for the PDP at this point in time. A district head in the Zazzau Emirate Council of Kaduna State slumped at an occasion on Thursday and later died at the Gambo Sawaba General Hospital, Kofar Ganya, Zaria. Now, the Sarakin Yak in Zazzau, Alhaji Rilwan Yahaya Pate, slumped attending an occasion along with the Emir of Zazzau, Malam Ahmed Nuhu Bamali. All right, well, may he so rest in peace. Now, opposition to the planned 50% telecommunication tariffs hike has thickened with the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) on Thursday, informing its affiliate unions and state councils to ensure total mobilization of workers and allies ahead of the February 4th nationwide mass protest against the planned tariff hike. Well, the month of January was quite, calm, but it looks like we're going to be starting the month of February on, I wouldn't want to say chaotic, but a little bit of dramatic note, if you like to put it that way. All right, but do you think that this showdown that is being threatened by the NLC will get the warmest reception from Nigerians? All right, February is just tomorrow. We'll see how that will pan out. Now, the Naira on Thursday appreciated to 1,493 Naira per dollar in the official foreign exchange market, and data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) showed that the exchange rate for the Nigerian foreign exchange market, that is NAFEM, fell to 1,493 Naira per dollar from 1,506 Naira per dollar on Wednesday. From the currency market, we move on now to other matters, where the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja yesterday granted bail to detained activist and former presidential candidate of the African Action Congress (AAC) Omoyele Sowore to the tune of 10 million naira with one surety in like sum. Now, the court, in the ruling that was delivered by Justice Musa Liman, held that the surety must be a responsible individual with landed property that is not valued below the bail sum. Okay, well, a passenger plane and the military helicopter collided mid-air near Ronald Reagan National Airport, killing 67 passengers. According to Al Jazeera, the incident occurred around 9 p.m. on Wednesday, as reported by the Federal Aviation Administration. Now, a very sad development there. May their souls rest in peace. Now, no fewer than 21 children aged between 7 and 15 years have been rescued by operatives of the Yobe State Command of the Nigeria Immigration Service from suspected child traffickers. It was learned from a statement signed by the controller of the Yobe State Command, SS Jega, on Thursday that a syndicate was intercepted at the Gaidam control post, Dunari, Yobe State, while attempting to transport the children to Niger Republic. I think the Yobe State Command of the Nigeria Immigration Service actually deserves a thumb up, right there, because, it's not easy. This is becoming one too many cases of, child trafficking in Nigeria. But do we blame the parents for not being too observant or being careless, right? Now, this should be a wake-up call to every parent out there, to everyone, basically, not just the parents, right? To look out for children. When you see someone, in the company of kids, just try to interrogate. You can be very diplomatic whilst interrogating these people. Whoever the person is, or the children. Is this person you're moving with? Is this person your parent? Is this person your relative or not? And if not, what is your relationship with this person? Because really, a lot is going on at the moment, and it leaves us with so much to take in. An Ekiti State High Court in Ado Ekiti on Thursday sentenced 4 persons to death by hanging for conspiracy and armed robbery. Now, the 5 condemned persons, Ojo Tokbe, Aderopo Temitokbe, Oyedele Oluwatobi, Damilola Christopher, and Ekundayo Ajiboye, were arraigned before Justice Lekan Olatawura, on April 16, 2024, on 5 counts bordering on conspiracy and armed robbery. And the last thing I would like to intimate you on is the fact that 2 members of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Honorable Lanre Afini and Honorable Sylvester Ogunkelu, are currently being held at the Department of State Security, DSS, in the state. According to a reliable source within the House, the 2 are under interrogation in connection with the removal of Honorable Mudashiru Obasa as Speaker. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it on 10 things that you need to know for today. Let's quickly take a look at the front pages of Nigerian newspapers to see what these national dailies are reporting this morning. I will be starting off with the Punch newspaper, and of course the big story says PDP crisis. That is the kicker. Stakeholders demand Wike Bauchi governor truce as governors meet today. A right underneath it says Fubara's camp wants Damagum kicked out as chairman. Opposition governors converge on Asaba. You get details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And then South Africa, Rwanda clash over Democratic Republic of Congo conflict. All right, details on page 28 of Punch paper. APC, PDP differ over Amechi's power-drunk politicians comment. You find that one on page 2. Moving on to page 4. Headsmen kill 5 laborers in Ondo farm. All right. Lagos Assembly insists Obasa's removal legal as DSS grills lawmakers. Details on page. But if you grab a copy of the Punch newspaper and you find details of that story. on page 28 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And just right in front of the Punch banner or logo, it says domestic shortfall as the kicker. NNPC marketers import 633 million liters of fuel. You find that one on page 19. 67 dead as plane helicopter collide mid-air in US. You find that one on page 3. And that's just about the size of the headlines I will be taking from the Punch newspaper. Let's quickly take a look at the Nigerian Tribune. Presidency airify trade words over governance and opposition. 3 writers underneath that headline. The first one says, be ready to defend your vote. Amechi tells Nigerians. The second writer says, politicians kill, maim to remain in power. You probably would wonder who made that comment or statement, right? And the last writer says, oh, survival of our democracy to people's resilience. Abdul Salami talking there. You find details of that big news story on pages 3 and 13 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. I mean, on Wednesday, we're made to understand that efforts are ongoing, plans are ongoing to somewhat rig the 2027, election. And we're still in 2025, not even 2026. Isn't that an indication that politics is indeed a dirty game? Well, I'll leave you to, ponder over that. Moving now to page 6, banks comply with court ruling lifting ex parte Mareva order against GHL. I think we took that headline on the Punch newspaper also. Details on page 6. On page 14 now, appeal court affirms order proscribing IPOB as terrorist group. Still on page 14, immigration intercepts 21 minors illegally taken out of Nigeria. And on page 25, Owa Igbajo, that is the kicker, court nullifies Adeleke's executive order on Famodun's removal. Moving on to page 23, Labour proposes 5% increase, gears up for February 4th protest over telecom tariff hike. Are your thoughts in line with what NLC is proposing? All right, details on page 23. And then moving back to page 3, DSS grills Lagos lawmakers over Obasa's removal. A writer underneath that one says a lawmaker is released after hours of interrogation. You find that one on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. FIRS exceeded 2024 revenue target, collected 21.6 trillion naira, says Adedeji. 2 writers underneath that headline. The first one says agency gets a 25.2 trillion naira target for 2025. And the second writer says FIRS, that's the Federal Inland Revenue Service, most important agency now. That statement is credited to the finance minister. Details on page 6. All right. I think I'll just leave it there this morning for the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Grab a copy to get details. The Guardian newspaper is up next. And of course, the big news story there leads with Mission 300 by 2030 as the kicker. Optimism as West African cities get $50 billion lifeline and fresh bid for electricity. All right, details on pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper. And there is a breakdown to that effect right there on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Moving on to page 7. 7 contractors received 2.4 billion naira, failed to execute project. Report reveals 17 contractors received 2.4 billion naira. They now failed to execute project. This is according to a report. Now, a very deep and strong revelation there, one would say, taking a look at the amount of monies involved. You get details on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Still on page 7, federal government unveils $23.2 billion energy compact. Target $15.5 billion private investment. All right, that's a page 7 read. On page 6, Atiku faults Tinubu's harassment as Amechi warns of power clinch. All right, details on page 6. Still on page 6, tax reform bills as the kicker. Lamido, Galadima reopen anti-North rhetoric with inheritance tax. All right, Cardoso says Naira reverting to true value as confidence returns. Details on page 18. Well, one will say that we can only hope and pray that that confidence returning would actually stand the test of time. Moving to page 3, Appeal Court affirms IPOB's prescription on ESL. We copy to get details. The Daily Trust newspaper is up next, and of course the big news story right there, talking about fresh controversy trailing IGP's tenure extension. 4 riders underneath that one. The first one says Sowore insists Egbetokun's stay illegal. The second one says nothing wrong with his status. AGF Fagbemi talking there. The third rider says sacking top cop will save Nigeria embarrassment. Okay. And the last rider says police council duly confirmed him, says FHQ. You get details of our story on page 4 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Right underneath that big news story, Hajj 2025 is the kicker. Low turnout today. All right. Details on page 14. Northern elders fault ex-NHIA boss. Arrest as court remands Yusuf in EFCC custody. I'll take that again. Custody. Details on page 24. Low crude supply mars Naira for